Okay, I cannot be the only one that when I go on holiday, of course, you fall in love with the area. You want to just go see what prices are for, some homes.
Pick
and
up
then
the magazine.
All of a sudden, you're there after 3 days and you say, you know what? I don't really want to leave. So then you actually go look at properties and you think, you know what? After a week, I could live here. And I can't be the only one that this happens to, because pretty much everywhere I visit, I think I can live here. Right, Simon?
As long as it's warm and there's palm trees and there's water, I'm pretty easy to please.
Well, let me tell you something. We have a fantastic lady here that really can help us all in terms of understanding what steps are required when you're thinking of living in any other country other than yours. And she has established the Live and Invest Overseas and is considered the world's foremost authority on overseas retirement. So Kathleen Peddicord, she's calling in from Panama. So welcome to the program.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy to be here talking to you from Panama City.
And I love your bio because, boy, oh boy, when we talk about your traveling experience, you have traveled to more than 50 countries. You've invested in real estate in 17, established a business in 7, renovated historic properties in 6, and, of course, educated your children in 4 of them. I would say that means you are an expert.
I think so. Most days it means I'm very tired, but yeah.
So I have to ask you, Kathleen, I have been following, I receive your newsletter and we'll remind our viewers and listeners how they can go about receiving that on a regular basis. But I love what you write. But how did this all start?
Oh, it started so organically, step by step. I never imagined years ago, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and I never imagined if someone had said way back then, in so many years, you'll be living in Panama City, raising a family, running a business, having lived before that in Paris, France, and before that in Waterford, Ireland, I would have just laughed. It would have seemed ridiculous. So it just happened organically, step by step. I moved with the publishing company I'd been with for a long time in Baltimore, moved to Waterford, Ireland, and we were there for 7 years. Moved there to Paris, France. We lived there 4 years, and we've been in Panama City for 6 years now.
So certainly you've covered the globe, but more importantly, you're helping other people understand the steps that are required when you want to live in another country. And for a lot of people, it's a pretty scary thought process. We're in love with the idea, but we don't know the steps. We don't know how to go about making that happen and turn it into a reality. Is that right?
Definitely. I think the idea is so exciting, so sexy, so fun and romantic, and you can get so excited by it. But then as soon as you start to think about it in any more serious way, it becomes intimidating, even terrifying. And it is a big deal because, on the surface, what you're doing is walking away from everything you've known, your whole life, your family, your friends, your home, all your connections, all your comfort zones, leaving them behind and showing up in a place where you don't know anybody, where you maybe don't speak the language, and just starting over. So that's at the same time invigorating and exciting and terrifying.
You have newsletters, you have a panel of experts that you've assembled, and Simon and I talk about that in the real estate world, of course. We remind people you don't know what you don't know, and of course you can't do it all yourself. And there's so much information out there, Simon, right, on the internet.
I'm glad you brought it up because there's so much raw data, but how do you interpret that and what's real and what's not? Because if you Google Panama real estate, for example, or you Google Costa Rica, well, you're going to get everything. You're going to get a billion hits. How do you sort through that? Where do you start?
Exactly.
Who do you believe? Who do you trust? And I think it's great that that you're building a network of people that you actually have practical experience working with and you can rely on based on real experience.
And that is what we really try to always base this in, is our own firsthand experience. Obviously, I can't be everywhere all the time, but I've been doing this for so long now, and I have spent a lot of time in so many different places that I have lots of friends. Again, this network of friends and correspondence and contacts around the world has developed so organically. But now I know dozens, really hundreds of people around the world who are living in these places and are having the experience in a firsthand, real-time way of rebuilding a life, remaking a life. And that means all kinds of great, exciting things, but it also means, getting cable TV and getting a cell phone and buying a car and getting a driver's license and on, all the practicalities that can be overwhelming unless you just have a little advice from someone who's actually done it before.
And Kathleen, what you also do very well is you really cover all the bases in terms of depending on your budget, depending on your stage of life. So whether you're doing this because you'd like to live half the year somewhere and be back at your home, whether you're retiring and you have a certain amount of money, you help to guide people in those places that would be most suitable. But you put all the practical aspects too, which is the hospital, the healthcare system, the conversion,
right,
whether they speak English or not, what are the languages. You forget about all these things because you fall in love with a place on a vacation realm. But then when you're living in it, it's very different. The vacation does end after a few months, doesn't it?
At first, when you make this move, you still don't know what you don't know. And that's okay at first, because in the first few months, say, it'll be a honeymoon period. It's like getting married. When you're first married, it doesn't bother you. You don't even notice that your husband snores, say. But after a while, night after night, that wears you down, and it becomes a frustration. That becomes a challenge. It's the same with moving to a new country. At first, you won't notice the little things like, no one shows up on time, and you call a repairman and you wait for him day after day after day, and he doesn't show and he doesn't call. And nothing is going to work the way that you're used to it working. And at first, that's going to be exciting and exotic. And after a while, it's going to be maddening. So what you want to do as quickly as possible in your new home, wherever it is to establish a network of support. Make some new expat friends who have gone through what you're going to go through and can help you keep things in perspective. There was a reason you made this move, and there are such big upsides. There are such big advantages. So you want someone who can help you remember them when the challenges are driving you crazy.
Even more reason for our listeners and our viewers to get on your list to receive the newsletter. So, Kathleen, how can people go about doing so?
We have a newsletter, a free e-letter that I write every day. It comes from me as I travel a lot, I move around a lot, but I write it from wherever I am in the world. And I include contributions from friends and contributors all over the world because, as I said, I can't be everywhere at once, and I certainly can't be everywhere at the same time. And things change, these places change, and new opportunities present themselves. Places make more or less sense for different reasons. So I have lots of people sending me information, sending me content and ideas. I package that into this free e-letter. And if you go to my website, it's www.liveandinvestoverseas.com. On the homepage, there's a little box where you can enter your email address, and you'll be signed up for the e-letter. You'll get it every day from me, and when you're tired of it, you can just unsubscribe. But if this idea interests you at all, that's really such a great low-key way to get started. Just start reading about it every day and dreaming.
And once they get started there, the next step, of course, is you have these great info sessions where you meet the people personally. You go to different locations so you can get more in depth, I guess, right? When it comes to you're serious about making this change of living somewhere else in the world.
Exactly. We do 10 or 11 conferences a year, and we do two kinds. One is a general event, and we do this once a year in the United States. We did it a few weeks ago, this year's event in Nashville. We focus on the top 21 places to think about doing this, the world's top 21 retirement havens. And we kind of cover them kind of superficially because you can't go so in depth into 21 places. But then once you have a better idea of where you'd like to go, we also do country conferences, these in the countries of particular interest that we think are particularly appealing. So say Panama, Belize, Nicaragua, Colombia. Next year, we're doing a Europe event that's going to be based in Dublin, but we'll cover as well France and Italy and Croatia and Spain. In these country events, we really bore down and we go into such detail over 3 days. And one of the really important things we do is introduce the attendees to expats who are already living in these places. Because as we've been saying, what you really want is to talk to someone who's actually done it, not someone who's reporting on it in theory, but someone who's living it. And so that's what we try to do for these events.
It's fantastic. And I look forward to attending the next event. In fact, all of us here at the Real Estate Talk Show, we were talking about it. What a great opportunity for us to come and meet you in person and learn a heck of a lot more. So I'm going to remind our listeners and viewers that it's liveandinvestoverseas.com. You're crazy not to take this opportunity, right, Simon, to be just get a newsletter, feel it out, get an understanding, and then you're really part of a fantastic network because it just moves on from there.
And now we have an excuse to travel the world again.
Yay!
Yes, why not?
You have to come visit Panama City.
So there we go. We got an invite from Kathleen. So we have to go see Kathleen in Panama. Just saying.
I'll take the couch.
Kathleen Peddicord, you are a delight. Congratulations on your success. I'm not sure if people are really aware, but you are all over the internet. You're being featured in all the major newspapers and publications. So I have to say to you, congratulations, girl. Fantastic. You're living the dream and you love what you do.
That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you.
We'll have you on again. Have a great day.
Thank you.